Welcome back, everybody. The starting lineup here on ABC 3340 on this Saturday morning, getting you ready for a big sports weekend. And we have a special guest with us, the author of a book that I just could not put down, Agent Confidential. Mike Chaudron is the author, and he's with us now talking about college football, our favorite subject around here. Mike, welcome. You're in the starting lineup.
Yep, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. I'm really pleased that you enjoyed the book and looking forward to the conversation.
Well, I can't wait to talk to you about it because the first thing I want to bring up is I think this is going to be a real perception changer for people because what we hear constantly and we always read online, between radio and television, all the people that we actually have feedback from is that NIL and the transfer portal have ruined college football. But you almost immediately established the fact that this is just the latest in the evolutionary process. This is not the vehicle that whatever people are lamenting, the change in college football began long before the implementation of these new areas.
It absolutely did. I mean, it's just now out in public. The money was always changing hands. It's just now much clearer now. And, we lay that out in the book. I go back to 1992 and money changing hands. So I really think that this just pulls the curtain back for the reader to show them what's really already been happening and is happening now in college football.
Well, I always have believed that 1984 was really the powder keg that kind of touched off this whole thing. Of course, that was the year of the Supreme Court decision, Georgia and Oklahoma versus the NCAA, when the whole setup, the chemistry was changed because the schools took back and the conferences took back the ability to televise and make decisions on their own games away from the NCAA. Ironically, an institution they had created. So I think that was the beginning, but it's remarkable to me, and speak to this, how did we go 4 decades still behind the curtain, the facade, if you will, of college football is just tradition and rivalry and emotion and all those things when already the business transition was well underway.
It really was. And again, you talk about the court case there. In the book, I make the case that in 1982, Texas A&M signed Jackie Sherrill
Oh, that's
to a
right.
6-year
Which was
contract
astounding.
that was worth over $1 million in total. And I make the point that that's really when it started. Then you have the court case. You move forward to 1996, and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, got $1 million per year.
Wow.
And so that's when the coaching madness started. But you also had the economics happening. It was the $100 handshakes, and I had a quick story in the book. In 1992, I was working for a bank, and a loan officer showed me a loan document, and I said, "Well, the lawyer must not be doing very well." And he said, "No, it's not for the lawyers, for that 6'7" power forward down at the high school going to
Wow.
an unnamed SEC school." So the money's always been there. It's just we're pulling the curtain back on it.
Well, and I enjoyed so much because you just used, I guess we could call common terms, but you gave some greater definition to them. Words like access and leverage and throttle and motion and action. I mean, all of those things. It really paints the picture of what's been happening. This has been a process that's been well underway, as we mentioned in the open here.
Oh, absolutely. So, we tried to just lay it out simply for we everyday fans and what's happening out there. So when you look at words like access, who has access matters, because what we in the public are seeing is not really what's happening. Behind the scenes, who has access, be it donors, agents, coaches, administrators, access is power.
Yeah, absolutely, and you do a good job of illustrating that. I really got as much as I enjoyed the opening chapters. I thought when you really got into the more the hardcore parts of the subject, when you started breaking it down by chapter of where we are now, and I thought timing was another big word that you used. Not a big word, a common word, but timing is everything in this whole evolution. And speaking of timing. I thought the story that broke this week that Kalen DeBoer told a local Tuscaloosa television station last weekend that his extension did not result from the flirtation supposedly with Michigan. In fact, he never spoke to Michigan, which I just read in your book the day before that coaches can always say that because in most cases that's the truth.
They are honest when they're saying I didn't talk to Michigan because Jimmy Sexton was talking to
There you
Michigan
go.
on his behalf. But if you look at the DeBoer extension, this was not a reward for great performance for Kalen DeBoer. This was Alabama and Greg Byrne removing uncertainty. It eliminated future questions. Is he going to flirt with other schools in the future? And frankly, it prevented the SEC media days from becoming contract watch when you and Legend are down there. So I think it was really just risk control from Alabama's standpoint more than rewarding DeBoer.